This is what Joyner wrote. He said he was a product of our generation of rappers who glorified drugs and made it cool. He said, I'm blaming y'all niggas for this shit. All the lean and pills niggas glorify and talk about. You teaching the kids to do it. Shake my head. You happy now? Question mark. Rest in peace. Juice WRLD gone too soon. And
he's right.
And 𝐏𝐲 came up with the comment was too long for me to paraphrase, but he basically called him a lame for saying that. And I think 𝐏𝐲.
Well, he didn't come. He wasn't too angry in his.
Well, I mean, that's what stuck out to me. I guess the quote about a lame, but I think 𝗏 was coming from a standpoint of it kind of just happened, so it's like it's kind of.
Well, he talked about. Damn, what did he say?
I might be able to
Yeah, pull it up if you can. He said something. He was more so alluding to the fact that, you don't know how hard, or not necessarily you, but like him, but he's like, it's tough to be a celebrity, and and the stress that he's going through, and it wasn't just, and it was part of it. That's what I took from it. And then Joyner obviously responded back to that as well. But
in all reality, artists have been dying from drug overdoses for as long as I can remember, before we were even here. It's just that musically it's talked about a lot more than it was back in the day, which makes it I guess you can say popular. It's popular to do drugs. Right. It's okay to be a junkie. Right. For the most part. You know what I'm saying? There's no repercussion, or you're not talked about for being a junkie. It's out there. This is what everybody wants to do. So, unfortunately, so.
Yeah. I guess he did call him a clown. So.
Yeah. You found a quote.
Yeah, so he said
You were on the right track too.
But I mean, I felt like he was just trying to say, he was trying in his long paragraph here. He didn't see it coming. He didn't see the millions coming from fame, coming out of nowhere.
Right.
I got 50 homies dead on my granny, been shot, blah 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 blah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess what I took from 𝐏𝐲 at that point was just him saying like, there's just like a miscommunication from what Joyner was saying versus how he interpreted it.
And that's probably his guy too. So he's speaking up for
Chicago ties.
Chicagoans. You know what I'm saying? So.
And the emotion is going to be heightened there just off the strength of them being from the city. I
think Bibby was one of the first that actually co-signed Juice WRLD.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're all kind of in the same camp per se, or familiar with each other.
But Joyner came back and replied to that and clarified it.
Yeah, I think his comment was...
And he said there's a difference between glorifying and speaking on it as it's a part of your life.
I agree with that.
And he said his comment was towards the people that were glorifying it as opposed to speaking about it, which would be Future's music, which Future would glorify it if he wasn't doing lean and he's rapping about lean.
Yeah. And then he actually...
That's different.
He came out... One of the things that frustrated me was when he came out and was like, I'm not actually, heavy into it like that.
That's
but
what
I just
mean.
rap. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like that really... We talked about that, I don't know, many moons ago.
He's right. But, he's right. In my opinion, he's right.
Yeah.
In that aspect.
In terms of Joyner.
In my opinion, he's right. Like, I think there's a difference between glorifying something and just speaking on it because it's your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, Joyner was talking about the people that were glorifying it.
Like Future?
Like Future.
Well,
which is documented.
Yeah. I mean, but at the same time, we like to put this on the youngsters, but let's
I'm not blaming Future for him dying.
No, but let's
all.
not act like that some sort of drug use hasn't always been glorified in hip-hop. Let's not act like there weren't a whole bunch of acts in the early 80s named Ski or Cold Rock Ski or Snow, or like all that was alluding to cocaine. The party rap tapes, you'd hear people say cocaine. Like that's a thing. And so let's not act like this is new because we want to put it on young people.
But this isn't being put on. I guess what I'm saying is this isn't him. He's not putting this on a young person. He's putting it on the music and that aspect of it. It's different. I don't think that's relevant.
I think it's just clear across the board. That's what I was saying as far as people have been dying and overdosing on drugs in the entertainment business forever. I mean, you have the 27 Club.
Yeah,
for sure.
I was going to say
it's not new.
Spans different,
but it doesn't emit
like genres of music. Like
right.
It doesn't emit it though. Like just because people have been dying from it doesn't mean that all of a sudden we gotta say, oh well, this is the way it is.
Nah, what I was saying is the problem now is just more prevalent for people to actually discuss drug use musically, because being a junkie has been popularized.
If you go back listen to some of those songs in the 60s and 70s though, they're talking about it and that shit too though.
They are, but it's just not art, so it doesn't reach as many people as easily. And it's not as easy to, well, it wasn't as easy to actually get your hands on it, I would say.
And I think it's different. Like, it's the same in that people are overdosed. I mean, there was a lot of rock musicians in the 60s and 70s that overdosed, right?
Right.
Sure.
But it's the type of drugs, and I think it's a little bit, different. These are all a lot of prescription drugs too. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to, make the distinction between, I guess, the two. Like, this is lean. This is all prescription shit.
Yeah.
I mean, they were overdosing on
you got a rapper
heroin
named
and
Lil
cocaine.
Xan. Lil Xan.
Neither's better or worse. They're all both horrible. There's just a difference between the two.
I mean, Eminem's first album had 2 Vicodin pills on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, I think you were Jay Diff, were kind of going down this road. I think music is so much more easily consumed now on a wider base, wider platform. You get music anywhere now. So you think about an impressionable era, we'll say, in terms of kids that can just turn their phone on and get this music ASAP. Like back then, you had to go out and cop records. I'm not saying the impact or it didn't happen back then. I'm saying that now it's easier to get access to that music now. You know what I'm saying? I think it reaches the masses faster.
I mean, is it though, really?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
I think so. I think music is just much easier to consume and much faster to consume now than it was in the era that we're comparing it to.
I feel like shit was consumed more thoroughly back in that day.
People sat with it a lot longer, definitely, and got familiar with it.
I'm glad we're talking about this because we're talking about like the influence of different things being said on music. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I remember that Sage Francis does this spoken word thing. It's like the boom bap that got me or something like that. You guys maybe have heard it, but he talks about the 80s and he talks about he has a line about like death metal and hardcore metal in there, and he says something to the effect of and they said kill your mother because they knew it would sell records and make them money.
Mommy's gotta go.
Like there's no difference between that in a way and like what Future, and there was a satanic panic in the 80s, you know what I mean, that was caused by
play the records backwards.
Yeah, stuff like that, especially like I don't know, looking like weird Norwegian black metal. It's just that's over there and that's crazy. But like there's the reason why I said that is because I read a comment about Trippie Redd, my favorite rapper, and
heard you listen to that earlier.
He said he's going to quit drugs, just smoke weed, just quit drugs. I respect that. And he goes, but I'll still, I'll probably still rap about him,
Right.
He's like, because of the feeling or whatever. And I was like,
yep, that just sums up everything. That sums it all up. That train of thought.
If I'm not mistaken, I just, I think this will always kind of be. So let's look at Juice WRLD too. Like he was, as Joyner Lucas mentioned, he was depressed. Like he was prescribed drugs, but then eventually ended up abusing them. Like I don't know if you can blame Future for that.
Imagine
no,
being
I don't think
we can't.
I think a lot of that is mental.
I don't think you can blame. I don't think you can blame Future for his death by any means.
No,
I'm just saying.
No.
I just think as a part of society in general, the message that we put out there in general is going to be received. And so if you know that your message is doing something that Future was doing, it's going to have consequences at some point in time.
I agree.
I believe that.
I don't believe, and I do believe,
but I don't feel like he's responsible for
no,
death.
and I agree. But and I just, or like people that, like what Joyner was saying, people that glorified it or whatever.
Yeah.
Or just using Future as an example, but yeah, man. I mean,
it contributes to it maybe somewhat.
Yeah, I think that type of music has more influence on people who aren't also artists, in my opinion.
Maybe, I don't know.
You know what I mean?